Welcome back to my channel. Welcome back to another cooking video. Today's video is all about super easy, simple 30-minute meals. I've got 4 meals I'm going to share with you today. They come together in 30 minutes or less, perfect for after a long day at work where you really don't feel like cooking. So I hope that you enjoy it, and if you do, make sure you hit that like button so I know that you liked it, and consider subscribing, joining the fam. Hit that red subscribe button down below. Let's get into some cooking. All right, so we're gonna start off with a quick chicken stir fry. This is such a tasty meal. My whole family loves this. So it starts off with 2 zucchinis and 1 large yellow onion. You're gonna dice a zucchini and slice up the onion. Over to our saute pan, I am using a good quality sesame oil. Always use sesame oil when you're making any kind of stir fry. It just gives it a flavor that nothing else can. And I've got about a tablespoon there. And now we're just going to saute our onions and our zucchini with a little bit of salt and pepper for about 5 minutes, or until the onion is translucent and the zucchini is nice and soft. All right, so here is another quick ingredient, and it is a stir-fry blend from Target, actually. I absolutely love this bag. It comes with water chestnuts, snap peas, carrots, broccoli. The only thing it didn't come with, oddly enough, was onions, so that's why we added them. Anyway, we're just going to give this a good mix and let it cook for about 5 minutes until everything is nice and soft and warm through. And I've got about 2 cups of shredded chicken breast here. I just used my Instant Pot to make 2 large chicken breasts. I shredded them up, but use whatever you've got on hand. You can use chicken thighs or rotisserie chicken. And now I have a bottle of sweet and sour sauce. This is another thing that makes it so quick, and I just literally am using the entire bottle. I'm going to give this a really good mix, and yes, you could see my little one's sneaky hands over here. She always wants to be in the videos. And now we're going to cover it and let it simmer for about 10 minutes until everything is nice and warm through. This is what it looks like, and I topped it with some green onions. If I had sesame seeds, I probably would have did that too, but I actually ran out. I just served it over some rice, and let me tell you guys, this is one delicious 30-minute meal. I think it actually came together in less than that. Now we are making baked sausage and peppers. This is so easy, you guys, and so delicious. So I've got 1 large yellow onion, I've got a green bell pepper, and a few colored peppers, and 3 cloves of garlic. Just slice up the veggies and mince up the garlic. And now over to our pot. I have a pot of boiling water. I am going to cook this whole box of bow tie pasta, but really use whatever kind of short pasta you like. And now I have the Italian sweet sausage. Now I take the casings off of these because, I don't know, it's something I've always done pretty much ever since I started cooking. I just always hated it. I thought it was so gross. So I take it off, but to each their own. You don't have to. I'm just going to do that. And when I cook them, I am actually going to tear them and put them in the pot. So I've got about a tablespoon here of oil, and like I said, I'm just tearing the sausage into little bite-sized pieces, and we are going to cook them about 3 or 4 minutes per side until everything's nice and browned and cooked through. I probably should mention that it's a good idea to cook this in an oven-safe pan, because we are going to pop this in the oven to melt the cheese. But if you don't have an oven-safe pan, that's fine too. You could just cover it up with a lid or some aluminum foil. This way you melt the cheese that way. Anyway, we are going to now remove our sausage now that it is nice and browned. Add in about another ½ a tablespoon of oil, and then cook your peppers and onions. Season with a little salt and pepper. We are going to cook that for just about a minute, and now we are going to add in our seasonings. So our seasonings are 1 teaspoon of Italian seasoning, a teaspoon of garlic powder, and a teaspoon of onion powder. So that's been cooking away for about 5 minutes. At this point, we are going to add in our minced garlic, give that a good stir. Like I always say, always add the garlic at this point. This way it does not burn. And now we're going to add in our sausage. So our sausage, make sure you get all of that liquid on the bottom too, because that's just extra flavor. Give that a good stir and let that cook for about a minute to a minute and a half. And now we are going to add in our bow tie pasta. Honestly, you can serve it just like this and it would still be delicious. I actually love it like this, but my family does love the marinara sauce and the cheese on top. So we're going to add in an entire bottle of marinara and give that a really good mix. And then we're going to top it with some mozzarella cheese. I've got about 2.5 cups we're going to top it with. And now I'm going to pop it on the top rack in my oven, and I'm just going to broil the cheese until everything is all melted. And oh my goodness, you guys, this is so delicious. The whole family loves this. This is one of my favorite meals to make on a busy night because it comes together so quick and it is filled with so much flavor. Next up, we are making chicken cordon bleu, and let me tell you guys, this was the easiest recipe of the whole week. So I am going to start by spraying the bottom of my baking dish with some nonstick spray, and then I'm just going to layer in about 1.5 pounds or so of thinly sliced chicken breasts. Make sure that they are thinly sliced because it does keep the cooking time down. And I'm just going to brush them with some Dijon mustard. Nothing fancy, literally just Dijon mustard. I've got about 2.5 tablespoons here. Now, before I layer in the ham and the cheese, I'm just going to season it with a little bit of salt and pepper, and then I'm going to top it with some sliced ham, and we're just going to make sure that it's all evenly covered. And of course, we need Swiss cheese in this recipe, so I am going to be layering it with about 5 slices of Swiss, and we're going to make a sauce in the pan. So I have a 1/4 cup of white wine and 1/2 cup of chicken stock, and then we're just going to cover this up with some foil, bake it at 375 for about 25 minutes or until the chicken's cooked through. And then once that time is up, you are going to broil it for about 5 minutes. So the cheese gets nice and bubbly, and this is what it comes out like. I just served it with some just green beans. I kept it simple, and it's so good. The sauce is so good because the white wine complements the Dijon mustard so well, and it's just such an easy dinner. For our last recipe, I am making a corn chowder. This is by far my favorite recipe I made this week. So we are going to be starting with a large yellow onion, 4 russet potatoes, 1 zucchini, and about the equivalent of 1 red bell pepper. We're going to just dice all of that up. And I've got here about 6 pieces of bacon, and I am just cutting that into bite-sized pieces. Now over to our Instant Pot. I am not adding any oil or anything. It is on saute mode. I am just going to render the fat of the bacon for our fat base. So we're going to cook that about 7 minutes or until the bacon is nice and crispy. All right, so now that that is nice and crispy, we are going to be removing the bacon here, and I'm going to show you guys a little trick that I learned recently on, I don't know, some random YouTube channel. I can't even remember, but it was how we remove bacon grease, because we really only need 2 tablespoons of bacon grease here. So I am taking a little measuring cup and making a little cup out of aluminum foil, and we're just going to get rid of all of that extra fat and keep about 2 tablespoons in the pot. And then you can actually just put this to the side and just let it get harden and then toss it. Just makes it a lot easier. So anyways, we're going to add in our onions, peppers, and our zucchini at this point and cook everything really well for about 5 minutes, and of course season with a little salt and pepper until everything gets nice and soft. Now that everything is nice and soft, we're going to add in our potatoes. So if you see the size of these potatoes, I made them pretty small, and that's just because I wanted everything to be the same size. So this way, when we pressure cook it, everything cooks nice and evenly. So I've got 2 cans here of whole kernel corn, and you can use canned corn, or if you have frozen corn, you can absolutely use that as well. I probably would have used that if I had it on hand, but I did not. And then we're going to add in about half of the bacon. For our liquid, we are going to be adding in 4 cups of chicken broth. Give this a really good stir until everything is really well combined. We're going to pop the lid on, make sure that it is set to seal, and we're going to pressure cook this for 12 minutes. Now we're going to release the pressure and we're going to actually make it nice and thick. So I've got 2 cups of milk here and 5 tablespoons of flour, and we're going to whisk that together. And then we're going to add that into the soup mixture. Now, make sure that your Instant Pot is on saute mode at this point because we do want it to continue cooking. This way it gets nice and thick. And remember, this will thicken as it sits as well. And this is a good point to stop and taste your food. So I did realize I needed a little bit more salt and pepper. Always season to taste as you go, like I always say. And give this a good stir and bring it to a boil and let it simmer for about 5 minutes. And it'll get nice and thick in that time. And you guys, I'm telling you, this is good any time of year. I know that this is big for summertime, but I really think it's good any time of year. Look how thick and delicious it is. I am just so in love with this soup. I topped it with a little bit of parsley and the rest of the bacon, and here is what our dish looked like. My kids loved it. My husband loved it. I swear that whole big pot completely gone. All right, you guys, so that's gonna do it for today's video. I hope that you found something for your family. These 30-minute meals are perfect for the end of the workday, and they come together so quickly, and they are delicious, so you can't go wrong. If you did like it, give me a thumbs up and hit that red subscribe button down below. I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye.